My grandparents gave me a trip for my 18th birthday, but me parents are forcing me to give it to their favorite daughter because it would be a waste for me. And recently my paternal grandparents gave me an international trip to Rome, and a check to cover my expenses there, on my birthday. As a gift they handed me an envelope with the plane tickets inside. The next day my parents started manipulating me to give the trip to my sister. My older sister June, who is 21 years old, is the golden child of the family. In case you hadn't noticed already, my parents started telling me that June is an architecture student, so a trip to Rome could be exactly what she needed during her vacation to enhance her understanding and see better architectural designs in person. I tried to argue with them, saying that I was planning to major in literature, so a trip to Rome was also pretty important to me. June already had a chance on her 18th birthday, but she turned down an international trip when my grandparents offered it to her, and said she preferred just the money instead. So now it was my turn, and I didn't intend to give it up for her. Also, from what I know, the airline I was going to fly with doesn't even offer the option to transfer tickets from one person to another unless there are very serious circumstances, but they told me not to worry about that. They just needed the ticket, and then they'd find a way to work it out on their own. This argument went on for several days after my birthday, and it's been 2 weeks since then. So eventually, I gave in and told them they were free to do whatever they wanted. It wasn't because I wanted to give up the international trip. In fact, I was really looking forward to it, but it didn't seem worth it to keep fighting with them, and I knew they wouldn't stop until I agreed to their terms. They practically started emotionally blackmailing me, mentioning everything they'd done for me, and in return, they were just asking for one small favor. I thought it was really unfair on their part, and at first I argued with them, but a couple of days ago, they made a frustrated comment, saying they didn't want the trip to be wasted, and I found that very hurtful. They quickly tried to retract it, but they had already said it. So apparently, they believed that if I went on the trip, it would be wasted, but if June went it would mean something. My parents tried to make it seem like they only said that because June had already graduated, and a trip to Rome would look good on her resume. I don't understand how or where, whereas I would always have plenty of time in the future to take such trips, unlike June, who would have to start working in a couple of months. So I decided to give up the ticket and let them have it. I just didn't want the drama of dealing with the same arguments over and over again. At least I would still have the check. Also, I was pretty used to this kind of treatment since I was a child, so it didn't surprise me. I didn't really think the tickets were transferable, either based on the airline guidelines I had checked, so I didn't think they could do much. But I guess they found a way to get around those rules. That's why when I was supposed to go to the airport yesterday, June ended up taking my boarding pass and heading to the airport. Then we got a call from the police, saying there had been an accident involving June, and that they needed to get her out of trouble. Apparently June tried to take control of the steering wheel while the taxi driver was driving to guide him, because she didn't think he was taking the right route to the airport. Out of fear of being late, she made that little stupid move. So of course, they lost control of the car and crashed into a tree. June came out relatively unharmed, aside from a few scratches here and there, but the taxi driver was seriously injured, because it was his side of the car that hit the tree, and he took the worst impact. We're talking about a broken arm and a very deep cut on his forehead, so he had to get a lot of stitches. He has filed charges against June for causing the accident.